All right, so moving on to the next series of games. I guess right before we get into this, I just want to talk a little bit about the playoffs, because we are nearing the end of the regular season. Week 10 games are going to be finished this Sunday, so everyone's been preparing and playing those. So thank you, for a great regular season. All of the players have been amazing. Thanks for your casting, Gorgonoth, all the other casting teams. And a really big thanks to Connor for the YouTube uploads, and to Laser Snipe and Awardy for being admins in the league. Laser Snipe has put in so much effort making all of the lineups and results getting reported. He's just been an absolutely fantastic asset, and the league couldn't happen without him. So with that said, playoff rules are posted on the Team Liquid thread. I made an announcement about that, and it's basically going to be a single elimination team league. The top team, which is looking to be CWA at this point, essentially gets a bye until the final, and then depending on how the next week goes, the rest of the teams are going to be seeded and playing versus each other in a sort of a single elimination bracket up until that final. It's going to be a 6v6 to start, with 3 A team matches and 3 B team matches, and if it goes to ace, there's going to be an ace. So we'll have to, each team's going to have someone on standby on Sunday to be able to play that ace match. But I don't imagine it's going to happen that often, but if it does, it's going to be hype.
Sure.
So full details of those rules are on the Team Liquid thread, so check that out and start preparing. That's going to be, we're going to have a 1 week break after week 10, and it's going to start the week after that. So if you need to take some time, or if you want to get some extra practice in, take that week. All right, with that said, we're going to get into CWA versus No1CareThat. And CWA, or is that right? Yeah, CWA versus No1CareThat. CWA is definitely the strongest overall team in the league. They've proven...
Wrong answer. Team Beast.
Well, Team Beast might be the strongest, but I don't know. They don't show up on game day. CWA's got the best record. They've been stomping. I think their strength is that they just have a really wide field. A lot of these teams have a strong B team. A lot of these teams have a strong A team, and CWA's got both of them. So they've been tough to beat. No1CareThat has been putting up a good fight. This match, I think, in the B teams that were casted, it's actually 2-2. So it's pretty even, and now the fate is up to Dentarg versus Telecom here, and Han versus Aoi Aoi.
Alright, dude. Sorry, I gotta take like a 30-second break. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
No problem. I'm gonna host it up. I will wait for you. How's everyone doing in chat? I'm just looking at the week 3 games. It looks like none of these are gonna be repeats. So none of these guys have played each other. I think the repeats are some of the more interesting matchups, though. So that's a bit of a shame.
Alright, I'm back.
No worries. I was just bad-mouthing Team Beast. No, I love you guys. Team Beast feels like my old team from Season 1, because you guys got Beast, and now you have Dragon Pain. So those were my coaches.
Bro, I thought Herb was your coach, right?
Herb was officially the coach, but he kind of got busy and just bounced. We didn't see him too much in Season 1, or I guess yeah. And Siri was also coach. So now Team Dragon Herb has been split up in Season 2.
The legacy lives on.
It does. We are going to move right into set number 1 here. This is going to be Dentarg versus Telecom, and on Tal Cross.
Now, Telecom, has a mixed reputation, I would say, in some of the TL forums. But I guess whatever what I'm trying to say is, regardless of that, he has a really cool playing style, and he plays really unorthodox, and it's always fun to see him play.
Yeah, he's definitely a strong player. You know, he's one of the strong A-teamers, and like you said, it's a distinct style. You know, I think especially some coaches, some teams, Team Beast especially, there's definitely a style that is being taught and being practiced, and you can kind of recognize it when you watch the games. You know, aside from one base lair plays and things like that, generally you guys are all playing the standard Korean meta. A lot of times Telecom plays very aggressively. You'll see him. He does have a distinct style that you can kind of recognize. And PvP, I think he's decently strong at as well. So I like his chances versus Dentarg, but Dentarg is no pushover. I would maybe call this like a 60-40. We actually have a kind of funny we meet again here. So I don't know when they played, because it wasn't in week 3. That's when these teams would have officially played each other. Maybe just like practice or on ladder.
Yeah, and also about Telecom, he has a really good. I think he is on. Is he unbeaten? I'm not sure. Of course, the stats do not reflect this week, but I think he had the best record. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he was one of the undefeated ones, for sure. Let me see if I can look that up. So as of week 7, which we do have stats for, yeah, he was 4 for 4 matches played. So another undefeated player, just like Hot Dog. So yeah, definitely one of the stronger A-teamers. And we have a PvP on Tau and a 2-gate coming out from Telecom. So, you know, we kind of talked about this a little bit with the Shoop Connor match, but we didn't see it there. This time Telecom is going to opt for that 2-gate. And as we say, he does tend to go for aggressive openings, so not too surprised to see it.
Yeah, and although, you know, Dentarg is going Zealot first, which is pretty safe against this, he should be fine. And yeah, I mean, if you probe drill good enough, and by the time your goon pops, you're usually just fine against the 2-gate. Then the 2-gate player has the option, if they don't get a lot done, sometimes to get an earlier nat, maybe get some cannons, and try to get economically ahead that way as well.
Yeah, I think I've heard that referred to as the Peru 2-gate. But yeah,
right.
that is definitely a possible follow-up. Cannons to defend from potential DT or even more gateway production, and a faster nexus. But you know, the 2-gate is really just going to be down to micro. Obviously, the 1-gating player has the faster goon. Oh, and we actually have the probe sneaking in past that zealot, so Telecom is going to see that this is a 1-gate goon open. And actually having the probe in the base can be useful. It looks like it is going to get picked off by the goon right away. But you could potentially screw up this first zealot a little bit and force your way in. Goon timing is great out from Dentarg, so he's going to start chasing the zealot, but when the second zealot shows up, it's going to come down to control.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th, not far behind either. What will Telecom be able to get done? Gets his shot off on the probe, another one.
Yeah, going hard on the probe, getting a bunch of Dragoon hits in the meantime, going straight into the mineral line. So a couple of probe kills and forcing some screwed up mining is all good, but he does have to be careful that he doesn't just lose all of these zealots and let Dentarg take a big army advantage. They're kind of just like chilling out next to each other.
2 probes for 2 zealots, not bad. 2 zealots diving in again on the probe line, and gonna get another probe.
Yeah, just completely ignoring the army and going for probe damage and getting quite a few kills for it. So this is working out. Telecom does have to be a little bit careful about a follow-up. We do have a gas steal coming out from Dentarg, so actually forcing him into zealot production. We have a forge response out from Telecom, so he probably will go for those cannons, just because he's lost so many zealots in this economic harassment that this counterattack is going to be a little scary.
The probe count is so low though.
Yeah, that is a lot of dead probes. what is that, 6 probes left, 7 probes, 2 in gas, so maybe 9 probes. There are now 3 goons, so the pressure is likely over. There's one more zealot, but he's going to get pushed back immediately. And Telecom has started some cannons over at his natural, because he's going to need them versus these goons. So 3 cannons, he's still been producing zealots, I'm sure, and that should be enough to defend, but it's going to be just in time. And this is kind of all in for Dentarg. There's no way he can come back economically at this point.
I love how Telecom played this. I mean, the cannons are so good against the goons, and if he has a couple zealots to tank, he should be just fine.
He's actually pulled 2 zealots back to try to kill the gas. He has to know that these goons are coming. I guess he's confident that he has enough to hold, but it is a little bit scary. You know, the game rests on this defense.
Yeah, and he forces another. Okay, pulled them to kill the gas, probably a good priority. And Dentarg's just waiting. I mean, he can't really afford anything else.
Yeah, just a really confident move there to start hitting on the gas when he knew those goons were at his doorstep. He knew he had enough to defend, and he was just fine with that. So he's going to get that gas even faster. He's got his natural up too, so he's going to be mining from 2 gas right away and try to catch up in the gas game. Dentarg has not taken probes off mining. In fact, he has 4 probes on gas. But with the economic hit he took, he's just building up gas because he doesn't have the minerals to spend along with it. So that's a bit of a mistake there. And just as I say it, he's pulling probes from that geyser.
Dentarg cut probes to get a fast nexus, which is interesting. I mean, I guess he feels like he has to. Probably the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, you never really want to cut probes, but when it lets you produce more probes down the line, it might work out. Like, there is a break-even point. It's just, he's so far behind economically that I'm not sure what he's planning to do. Like, to come back into this, he's going to have to go for some sort of crazy tech play and get lucky with some crazy harassment or do some risky expansion. I mean, he's way behind.
Yeah, and Telecom just getting 2 more gates up, and he might just go for some sort of a bust, get a round or 2 of goons out, and then just the army of Dentarg is going to be so depleted.
Yep, this is definitely Telecom's game to lose now. Actually sending a zealot out into the top right to look for those hidden bases, because he knows that's one of the options that can bite him. Building some cannons in the main, knowing that DTs are a possibility if they manage to sneak past these cannons or drop in. That can lose the game. So just playing super solid, knowing where he's at, knowing that he can he doesn't have to cut any corners right now. Just playing safe will keep him well in the lead. So the natural is up, and we have a pretty sad looking Maynard to it. There's just not enough probes. But Dentarg will be able to produce probes out of 2 nexuses now, and he is going to go for that Reaver tech. So I guess he's hoping to get some Reaver harassment done, and if he gets some killer Scarabs, he can pull himself back into this game.
Ooh, this is bad. Dentarg's looking, maybe he's going to proxy something here.
Yeah, that's a risky move too, but I kind of like it. I mean, he knows he has to do something. So what is going to be built here? Is it just going to be a gateway? Kind of would imagine that that's all you can really build. He's already got a robo in his main.
Would have liked a proxy robo there. That would have been
sick for sure. Just have a Reaver walk over to the mineral line. Yeah, we do see the proxy gateway, but you know, without Templar tech, there's not a ton that can come out of there. That's super scary. But having that in his back pocket is going to be useful. So I like the thinking. You know, Dentarg's pulling out the stops to try to get something done. 1 zealot sacrifice to sort of see what's going on at the front. He didn't see the Nexus, I don't think, but with the goons in this position, he has to assume it's there. And honestly, Dentarg could, if Dentarg gets a good Scarab or 2, you know, he's got the goon numbers. Telecom had to invest pretty heavily in cannons just to stay alive, and he hasn't been cutting corners. He's actually teched up to Templar as well, so his army is fairly small. Dentarg might even be able to get away with a 3rd. And if this proxy gateway does some damage, if the Reaver does some damage, he could get back into this game.
I'm a little bit confused at how Telecom's army is not like 5 times bigger. Okay, it is, but I guess there's so many goons than that.
Yeah, he's spent so much of his resources just getting his tech and getting cannons that he just hasn't been prioritizing gateway units. Now he's got gateways, and so we should see the army expansion just explode. Meanwhile, Dentarg had his goons from the earlier opening, and had produced a few because he realized that he needed to have some defense versus the econ of Telecom. So if Telecom did go for like the regate, he would have just died without producing goons, so he was forced into that. So we do see the armies as they are now, but this shuttle, oh no, this shuttle needs to make a play, and it's floating straight over a pylon. Gonna just drop it off to try to take out that probe. But that's really, really good preparation for Telecom.
I mean, that was I mean, there was a good chance he would have been able to get a shot off here. And still might. Okay,
He
now
still might. It's pretty risky. This is a slow shuttle. There's not a lot of probes here anymore because they were pulled early. And it gets a decent shot. That was like 4 probes.
Yeah.
So this kind of damage is absolutely necessary. Oh wow, actually a storm going for that shuttle, just a little bit late. So that's even extra value. This proxy gate has been making goons, which is really interesting.
So funny.
I've not seen this. I guess he's expecting that when Telecom moves out, he can just surprise him with like 6 goons in his main. It might do something. That's weird.
There are 2 cannons.
There's actually 3 cannons at the main.
Yeah, and there's two dragoons on standby.
Ooh, that could be a really good scarab. That was decent. That was decent. I could not see how many probes went down, but they were stacked up. So Dentarg is playing really well from behind. He knows what he needs to get done, and he's executing it really well. Not taking crazy risks with the shuttle, getting decent value, and yeah, he's starting to equalize. There's still a decent supply lead for Telecom. He's still ahead, but you know, he doesn't have a good attack path. Pushing into this choke is really tough, especially if another Reaver shows up. Telecom has so many Zealots that, you know, 1 or 2 Reavers are just going to shred that.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see Telecom maybe get the 3rd a bit earlier, or at least get it before Dentarg does, because although I'm really not convinced that he couldn't attack into this.
Oh, what's this Reaver doing? This Reaver has no scarabs. Holy crap, that's risky. He's gonna get these Templar, but he took a lot of damage from the storm there. Man, if that had scarabs, he could have killed that Templar and the probe and delayed the Nexus no problem. So that was a big mistake there.
Okay, now Telecom is pulling everything here. Now, this is so ironic. These goons in the back, that's up to 6 goons, might be the ace up Dentarg's sleeve. That's so weird.
It's really weird. I would love to see this Reaver go straight to the natural. I mean, he pulled it back because it was hurt. There's no reason to have it hanging out in the main. Like, just bring it right to your natural when you pull it back, because he's going to need it. If that Reaver's not there to take shots on these Zealots, these goons are probably not going to be enough. And
yeah,
Telecom going to spend 1 Zealot just to see what's going on, and realizes that he can probably take this fight,
okay.
So he's moving in. And they're good the goons.
Getting a decent amount of probe kills. I mean, it'd be so hard to figure out how many exactly, but still, gonna have to pull some stuff back. Now, meanwhile, Telecom is diving in here, and it's a weird angle. Didn't quite get the storms off. So much storm on his own Zealots.
Oh wow, barely saves that Reaver. Lots of storms going down. That Reaver has like 1 health. It can't even take like if a Templar looks at that Reaver, it's gonna die. Oh yeah, the goons down here have done a decent amount of damage. So this game got real wonky. Reaver is being saved. Actually, a 16 kill Reaver, a lot of that is probes, but just finally goes down. And there are Archons here that are going to be able to kill these probes as they run. This is a really dangerous situation for Dentarg.
Goons finally cleaned up, and now he's going to realize, like, what's going on. He's got to check for proxies now, unless he thinks it was some sort of fairy situation. Yeah, this is still kind of fragile for Telecom, this army. No,
yeah, I think those 3 Archons are just so beefy. Like, this is going to be really hard to push back.
DT,
there is a DT. I don't see an OBS, so that might be enough.
He's got a Zealot circuit. It's actually quite easy with this many up.
The only
Who
thing is
actually
he's taken so much econ damage that even if Dentarg pushes this back, like he's back down to just almost no mining. And Telecom's got his third. He doesn't have many probes at it at the moment, but you know these are 3 Nexus that can make produce probes. The Archon's getting in that mineral line, so he's losing. Dentarg's losing even more probes. He's just getting further and further behind here.
Would have liked to see. Okay, yeah, just go straight for the middle line. There we go.
He's just gonna kill the Nexus. Yep, his Zealot reinforcement is unstoppable. A DT can eventually kill things, but not until everything else just goes down. So I like the ideas. You know, Dentarg realized he was behind and tried to pull out some plays. They almost worked, but in the end he just didn't have enough to defend back at home.
Yeah, I mean the DT basically just saved him there.
You say saved, but you know
I
he's
mean,
only got
they
one
postponed,
Nexus.
postponed the death.
Yeah, he's not doing so well. You know, he has to retake his natural. His main is almost mined out, and he just doesn't even have an army. Like, he can't do anything on the map at all.
Just gotta believe, man.
He's believing. He's got 2 zealots coming out of that proxy gate.
It's so funny.
It's a cool play, you know. And at this point, if Telecom suspected a drop before, he has to know now that there's no way. There's got to be a gateway back there.
It's like, fool me once, shame on Telecom. Or Dentarg. Fool me twice.
I mean, the cannons are kind of enough to take care of it. Like, you can't actually sit and macro up a sizable army from that one gate, so there's not much he has to do. He's going to send a goon down there now. But there's a 4th base coming up from Telecom, and Dentarg's just barely trying to retake his natural. He's got like 1 Reaver and 4 Zealots. I guess he's a little bit more up here at front, but it's not that much.
Yeah. So.
But I like the fighting spirit.
Yeah.
Dentarg believes.
Doesn't quit on himself. Now this proxy's finally... I really wanted this proxy to go unscouted into the end of the game. That would have been funny. But this wave doing good. And you know, what's really interesting is this... I guess it's called the Pru 2 gate.
Yeah, I've heard it referred to as the Pru 2 gate. I mean, I don't know if it has an official name. But it works. You know, it's not a bad build. I don't think you won't see it that often in like Korean games, but you know, at foreigner level, it's certainly viable.
Yeah, I mean, I've really never seen it do bad. I guess it doesn't really make sense, but because it protects you against, you know, DTs, which is cheesy, and it also gives you a little bit of protection just in general if you're gonna get busted. And then you get those cannons up early, so if the Reaver's going to come in, you get a couple cannons in your main, you'll be doing a lot better against the Reaver tech as well.
But like you recognize in this game, you know, Telecom's army going into the early mid-game had barely any units. This Reaver could do a lot of damage. I don't know if this is enough at this point, because even if he kills this base with it, he's still down a base, you know? Like, he is so far behind. In fact, Telecom's not even reacting, he's just actually moving his army into the natural of Dentarg. He doesn't care about the Reaver at all. Nice shot, though. Yeah, so Dentarg needs to make moves like this, but I think this game is over. You know, I don't want to call it early, but what can you do? He's on one base.
The manor pylons. It's funny.
Oh, there we go. Yep. Is it going to be a heart? That's a little bit small to make the heart shape. You had to cancel. But yeah, there it is. There's the heart pylon. Very nice.
That's funny.
Yeah, so like I was trying to say about the Pru 2 gate, like if you're investing in the cannons, you're basically ceding map control. Oh, what a storm. That almost killed a lot of Templar. Oh my god, that's like 6 storms.
Yeah, that was...
They're all just like stacking storms on each other. Yeah, this is too much. Once those Archons morph, these reinforcements for Dentarg are just gonna evaporate. One round of reinforcements comes up here and it's over. Great storms. So he's holding on, you know, like Dentarg's putting up as much of a fight as he can. It's just he doesn't have the resources. Like, even though this was a good trade for him, Like, look what we have streaming up. Although it hits a lot of Templar. There's just not enough. But like I was saying, if you're investing into static D with cannons, you're ceding so much map control. So if you're not doing damage with your initial 2-gate, and then you build a bunch of cannons, you're basically inviting your opponent to take a third without having to do anything. You're inviting your opponent to just play, super risky because there's nothing you can do to punish them. So a lot of players will take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's based on how much damage you do off of the 2-gate, which you may have already said, but because if you do damage, then they'll be behind. So by the time you can get a healthy gate count up, and you can be active with, maybe a faster upgrade because you have that faster forge or something like that.
Oh yeah,
this
absolutely.
Game, Telecom was able to, but it really because only he was so cost effective with those early celts.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, if you're doing damage, but, at some point, if you do damage, you can do any follow-up, If you're doing enough damage and you're building your tech in time as well, then you can also go robo for DT. There's all sorts of things. But we do have game 2 here. Honestly, it was a good game. I think Dentarg played from behind remarkably well. He had a few opportunities to really try to come back, and he took them. But Telecom just played a little too solid after getting such a big advantage. So that is 1-0 for Telecom. Here we go into game 2 on match point, with Telecom as the blue Protoss in the bottom left corner.
And in the top corner, the teal Protoss from Chobos with Attitude. It's Dentarg.
Good old Chobos. That is a really fast probe coming out from Telecom. So I'm pretty sure he's not trying to scout, especially on a 2-player map. I don't know, just saying.
A good likelihood here. Now, this is interesting. He's going to place that, if it's going to be a proxy, if you're going to place that on that ramp, it's actually quite, well, it's a place people scout quite a bit.
Yeah,
so
you have to know, on any 2-player, a proxy is just that much more powerful, because you know exactly where you can build things, but that means your opponent knows exactly where to start looking for things, if they're not just doing a normal scout pattern. So this is probably going to be a proxy 2-gate. If Dentarg takes the normal scout, just like right-clicks on the map, his probe will take the small ramp, so he won't necessarily see this. But he only has to go out of his way just a tiny bit to duck down and check it if he suspects it.
yeah, I'd actually like to see him put these gates behind, because of that. Now it's so close now.
It's really close. Yeah, let's actually see what he's got. He's sending that probe. It looks like it might be going straight to that small bridge, and is just barely not going to see anything. So, nice risk there from Telecom, and knowing exactly where to place those. And now we're going to have a 2-gate in Dentarg's face. He goes for his gas as well, so same build, but this time the Zealot pressure is going to be a lot faster.
It would be awesome if Telecom went proxy shield battery in the base.
Yeah, like the Manor pylon into shield battery, that could be really strong. But honestly, with how game 1 went, I think a Manor pylon would just protect more of Dentarg's probes.
Well, yeah, or not even like a Manor, just even close to the min line. Get your shield battery up. I don't know. It's not optimal, but
yep, so he actually scouts now the empty main. His reaction is going to be to get his own shield battery, it looks like. So Dentarg is going to try to just survive this with a shield battery and 1-gate production for now. 2nd gate coming down, but obviously it's going to be a lot slower than Telecom's.
Yeah, keeping this probe alive for Telecom is actually pretty important here. Adds just a little bit more, and then when you're dealing with exactly the same units, it means a lot. And the shield battery's up. That's rough.
Yep, that's actually really nice. Being able to win that first initial fight. The Zealot probe attack doesn't work versus a Zealot shield battery. So now it is 2 Zealots versus 2 Zealots and a probe, which is a much better fight for the defender. A 3rd Zealot coming to join, but again, that shield battery and some probes coming in is going to be enough, I think. It's really going to come down to control. And
I'd like to see Telecom just go straight to the min line.
Yeah, it's tough with the shield battery where it is, and actually Dentarg's doing a good job trying to wall it off even farther. Dentarg biding his time, letting that pylon take some hits until he can get that third zealot. So really good play out from Dentarg, just stopping any real damage, and great micro, really keeping it at the shields. One pylon does go down, but Dentarg is already prepared. He's already started remaking that pylon, so he's not supply blocked. And there's only a single zealot advantage out for Telecom at the moment. I think that's really countered by the shield battery. Now a second zealot comes up, so now it's a 2 zealot advantage. But you know, Dentarg's taking no damage. He's actually defending this really well.
Oh, that was actually a waste of a recharge there. Shield battery's out of mana now. Looks like there's a Cybercore on the way. So now Telecom can sort of take a fight. Ooh, decent micro from Telecom.
Yeah, he's going to try to focus this gate, which I'm not sure is the best call. That's got a lot of health and is actually letting Dentarg get a couple of hits in. But he does have a decent-sized army compared to what Dentarg has. And as you said, the shield battery is out. So for Dentarg to really defend this, he's going to need to bring probes into the fight at some point.
Yeah, I really dislike him chipping away at the gateway, though. You're not going to get through that. You're just not, frankly. And
you might, but you would have gotten more damage elsewhere. You know?
Yeah, yeah. By the time you get through it, you're going to be at a zealot disadvantage. So
I think it's the easy mark. Oh, actually, really good catch on one zealot, so that's a nice win for Dentarg. And it's getting a little bit even. I can't quite tell how many each player has. They're doing a full-scale fight. It looks like Dentarg's actually managed to get an advantage here in zealot count. And he's actually mined a bit of gas as well, so goons are going to start showing up, and that's going to be the end of the 2-gate.
Yeah, I mean, like 30 seconds ago when Dentarg was maybe 2 zealots ahead, I really would have liked to see him just dive on the mid line. I mean, I guess it's risky because if you lose that zealots, but I mean, if you get like 5-6 probes, that's so huge in the PvP and can gain you some of that ground.
Yeah, it's tough to say, you know. Dentarg really defended the very early pressure so well, and that's where you really want to be trading. If you trade one zealot for a couple probes and you only have the initial zealot hitting you, that's okay. But if you were to trade 5 zealots for probes and they have 5 zealots remaining, and you don't even have gates in your base, you're probably gonna die, you know. So at this point, and even a good while ago, I don't think that trading the army for probes is the right call. He really had to fight the army and kill it, and Dentarg played it well. He really stalled out until he had a good army advantage. Now that goons are actually going to get blocked a little bit by the zealots, which isn't ideal, but there's enough zealots to defend that they're actually going to chase these out. And the push has been repelled, so now these gates are likely going to go down, and that's a pretty big investment that Telecom's going to lose.
Yeah, I think this is GG, honestly. I mean, he's going to lose those gates. He doesn't have any gates at home. He's trying to get some cannons behind it, but it's most likely just going to be a slow death here, although getting some zealots past.
Yeah, that was risky.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the plan is here. He's not really taking too many hits, luckily. That was really close. He could have gotten a lot of zealots trapped. Only a single zealot going to come up into the main. It's going to try to get some probe snipes, but honestly, it's not going to get much done with 2 goons popping. And just kind of losing a couple of zealots on the retreat, so that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Dentarg also wisely just killed the pylon there. He's not wasting time killing the gates. And he's going to just try and see if he can just murder Telecom at home.
There are 4 cannons up, so, and you know, you can kind of block with those zealots a little bit on the ramp. It's just gotta get there.
Yeah, this first cannon is actually hitting at the ramp, so Dentarg is wisely going to pull back. Probably just going to go finish off those gates. Might even expand himself, but he has to know he's in a good position. He's going to have the goon count. Kind of waffling about what he's going to do. Takes a few extra hits there and finally pulls back all the way.
I mean, if he just pumps goons, he can win. If he goes around to the flat, Telecom can't make units right now.
Yep, and there's actually a probe still in Telecom's base, so he sees exactly where he's at. He's got the full scout, knows that there's not even a gateway started, and actually we have a citadel before remaking a gateway. So Telecom, he knows that he's kind of behind that goon count. He probably will be forever. He's going to go for the DT follow-up, and it could actually do it. You know, Dentarg needs to be pretty tight on his build to make sure he has detection in time. At the moment, he doesn't have a Forge or Robo, so he's going to have to start one of those fairly soon. He obviously has some time with only the Citadel started, but if he's lax in the build at all, that DT could just end the game.
Yeah.
And what's this? We do have a Robo, so likely going to be Ob's follow-up here, and he should be safe. If he goes for like a really fast support bay and tries to do some Reaver harass like he did in game 1 with the good Reaver control, that might be a problem, but I think he'll be fine. And actually, he might even just try to end it here. He knows that Telecom has not been producing units for a good amount of time, and going to target down the cannons, so great control. Just sort of leaving Zealot to Zealot, and once all these cannons are dead, that is probably GG. He has so many goons, and they can micro versus these Zealots forever. Good stutter step, and there's almost nothing Telecom can do here. He's going to try to rebuild those cannons to live, but I'm not sure how much time these Zealots can buy. There's only 4 left.
Yep. Using that patrol key to fire as fast as possible, most likely.
Yeah, good control. I mean, really took very few hits there. Probes coming out to try to get the cannons to finish, but I don't think they're going to be enough. And even if they are, he's going to lose a lot of probes. There's so many goons here, and goons kill cannons very quickly. I mean, this many goons just one-shot cannons. And there it is. And with that, I think that is game number 2. So we have the first 1-1 of the night. Dentarg defending versus the more aggressive 2-gate really well. And that's one of the risks of doing the same build 2 times. Your opponent is already thinking of the preparation for it.
Yeah, and the first number L, or letter L, right?
Letter L.
Can't speak. Okay, letter L for Telecom. Numbers, letters, kind of all the same.
So we do get to go to map number 3 finally, and it's actually going to be good old Fighting Spirit. So we have a tied up series here, and the finish, I did not update the score, sorry guys, we're going to do 1-1.
Ooh, you have a score on your thing. It's nice. Classy.
Classy. Yeah, it's the OBS text, so it's formatted really badly and just kind of shows up in the middle. I've been hoping to get an overlay someday, you know, one of these days.
Yeah, I need to get somebody to make overlays for me for the Eon Zerg DeWalt show match.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
I asked a couple people, and I got a few people, but like I just need to get that ball rolling. Otherwise, it's gonna be just, that weekend.
Just pop open the MS Paint and just try something.
Yeah.
All right, so we are tied up 1-1 for the series. We have Telecom up here in the top right of Fighting Spirit as the red Protoss.
And at the bottom, the person just took the first game off of Telecom. Should be feeling pretty good right now. It's the yellow Protoss, Dentarg.
So I have to wonder if there's going to be, you know, a second, or I guess a third 2-gate. You know, no one... You doing a build twice in a row is like asking for your opponent to be ready for it, but that third time might surprise them.
Yeah.
No one expects it 3 times.
Right. Now, I hate to say this, but I mean, well, I guess it depends. I think we're going to be seeing, at least we're shaping up for a bit of a macro game here. We got cross spawns on Fighting Spirit, a really good macro map for Protoss. This game most likely will be longer, you know, because it's so far of a rush distance, and Fighting Spirit is so good to get your 3rd and 4th up.
Yeah, I agree. I think both Tau and Match Point lend themselves to more aggressive play, whereas compared to Fighting Spirit, you can definitely go more economically. But Telecom does not agree. That is the second gate. So straight out the gate, we're going to see the same builds. I guess the second map, that wasn't really the same when you proxy it, but similar styles here, very aggressive early game, and we'll have to see if Dentarg can defend as well as he did game number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it's so far of rush distance. I think he'll be just as fine, or he might even be a little bit sharper on the defense.
I would agree with that, and you have a ramp to play with as well. So both of those factors mean that those initial zealots probably aren't going to do too much, and then once there's goon numbers, you know, that zealot harass has to stop.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's tricky is, how many zealots will he make blind? Because it is such a far rush distance. You know, he's going to have to start the. Ooh, nice, gets the probe from Dentarg.
Yeah,
That's
really nice.
He just got to be aware, like, if he makes a ton of zealots blind, and then by that time Dentarg already has a ramp hold set up, that could be tough.
Yep, and so he just scouted. He knows that Dentarg is here on the bottom left. And yeah, this rush distance is so far. I think the goon might even be out. Basically before that zealot can do anything. Oh, we have a proxy pylon as well. So this is going to turn into some sort of a proxy tech build with zealot pressure, probably a robo.
Yeah.
But that is just hyper aggressive. I mean, Telecom plays aggressive, but this is hyper aggressive.
Well, I mean, he was telling me once that he really likes this. Okay, it's a proxy gate. Interesting.
Wow, so a proxy third gate. So this is not normal. I have not really seen this. We do have the first goon out, so these initial zealots aren't going to be able to do too much. There are 3, so they can force their way up here if they want, but they're going to take a decent amount of damage in the meantime. Looks like no probes are going to be here in time. They might just barely get the block.
Oh,
yes.
Not sure why he didn't finish the zealot off.
Yep, so that's good defense so far from Dentarg. He's going to try to force his way in through the probes, but again, he's taking a lot of hits. The second goon is out. Oh, but the first goon's trapped. That is crazy. I mean, if that second goon could just walk away, then this is 2 goons versus 2 zealots right now, and that's not even a problem. You know, you don't need to micro super hard against that. But now that it's 1 goon, and it's actually a risk of getting trapped again, just barely sneaks out of there. That is crazy. So 1 goon's gonna keep, 1 zealot's gonna keep that goon busy. The other goon or zealot is gonna attack the probes. And Dentarg's not even mining right now, just trying to deal with the zealot. Second goon finally gonna join his friend, but that first one took so much damage.
Ooh, that 1 goon has it's really low and it's regenerating shields. So this dive is going to be important here. Oh.
Yeah, Telecom's trying to target it. Dentarg's trying to keep it away, but just barely going to get it. We're at 2 goons now. 3 gates worth of production, and there's already been a decent amount of probe damage. So at some point, Dentarg's not going to be able to afford units out of 2 gates, and he might get overrun here.
Losing so many more probes. The drilling was decent at first, but it really stopped working, and he's just losing so many probes. I think he's at like 6 again.
Yeah,
now
drilling becomes a lot less effective when you have less probes, because they're just not,
yeah.
not stacked as much. That goon catch was just so critical. I mean, that should have been a pretty decent fight for Dentarg, but having that goon stuck just meant that he was in a really bad spot. And now he's getting the goon numbers, but how many probes? Is that 4 probes left? This is really hard to come back from.
He's got 4 zealots. Although now the one thing is kind of weird is he can push out with these goons, and when you got 4 goons out, you can micro them. Although these goons, for the time being, are really all he has left. You know, I mean, because he can't rebuild them right now.
Yeah, you can kind of push out with the goons, but like you can see here, there's 3 zealots waiting for them to leave, and they're gonna backstab. Meanwhile, cannons are being built. Those goons were delayed because they were trying to take out this proxy gate, so those cannons are gonna finish in time, and it's a big rush distance. And these 3 zealots are gonna do so much damage. At most, there's gonna be 1 goon maybe. No, not even. He's so poor that he couldn't produce more goons.
Could this be GG right here?
I think this is GG. There's nothing coming out of those gates. And those goons are already halfway across the map. They can't come back in time.
Okay, the drill is up.
You can drill like Bisu, but you're not going to win this fight. That is just... The 3 zealots are pretty strong. There's actually a 4th zealot coming down. Dentarg's not mining. He's bringing the dragoons back now, but it's so late.
Drill's good so far. Hasn't lost a probe. I mean,
Yeah,
All right,
he's doing a decent job, but now he's got stuck on a corner. And you know, even though he's not losing probes, he's not mining. He can't
Yeah.
produce. Does he even have a unit? He has one goon coming out. So the goons are back. He might be able to clear this out, but think of all this mining time. I mean, that is like a solid minute of no mining at all.
I don't like going for the pylon. I just going for the probes now.
Once again, disrupting mining. Like, all of these zealots could just die right now, and they've already done a ton of damage. I kind of disagree. I think the pylon was a great choice. You know, it's the easiest thing to kill. It has the least health. And when your opponent's this poor, 100 minerals is a big deal.
True. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. If he went in for the midline, he could just get drilled again and lose that. So that's true. Yeah, it just looks like I'll set that for extra highlight.
Yeah, so
wow.
This is very similar to game number 1. I think it really just hinged on that Dragoon getting caught. That was amazing, amazingly bad luck or good luck, however you want to think of it. But once you get a little behind in the unit count versus an aggressive 3-gate opening, there's not much you can do. So Dentarg played that game quite well in trying to come back. I think this time he's a little bit farther behind.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I'm a little bit confused about from Telecom is he's not producing right now. He's just cannoning up, and looks like he might be taking his third here super early. Honestly, at this point, he can just throw down. He could have just 30 seconds ago threw down 2 more gates and probably just won. I don't like that he's dragging this out seemingly more than he has to.
Yeah, it seems like his follow-up after doing the 2-gate damage is to just, play super safe. He's even got extra cannons. Like, that's 2 additional cannons that he probably didn't need. Like, he knows how many goons are out. And he's taking up fast behind this. So he doesn't follow this up with units and keeping on the pressure. He just gets the advantage and then just tries to keep it. So that is going to result in a slightly longer game because Dentarg is a fighter. He's going to play this out. And honestly, I think it is a mistake. I kind of agree with you. Dentarg played from behind so well game number 1 that if he does that again this game, he could take the win. It's going to require a lot of doing, but it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like giving him an opportunity to get back in, honestly. Which, I mean, I guess Telecom, he's played a ton of games, so I got to say that, he may have a reason for doing this. You don't want to get ahead and then be so aggressive that you then throw the game away. Still don't think he really could have done that. I mean, the gates just haven't been producing.
Yeah, he's pretty far ahead. I think, it's if Dentarg was going all in, like not making this Nexus, just trying to make a ton of units, maybe even taking the DT or something and just trying to run it past, then what Telecom's doing makes a lot of sense and would work really well. Dentarg, however, is just going to try to play catch-up with his own Nexus, and so it feels like the wrong call, but I think it is a sort of safer play the way Telecom's doing it. It does just give your opponent a chance to come back because you give them so much breathing room. And is that fully walled off? his DTs can't get out, he made too many cannons. So there we go. 1 cannon going down, 2 DTs on the map. And I think that might be it. Is this a cannon?
There's a cannon.
This is a cannon. If those Dragoons leave, then those DTs can hop on that cannon and take it out. So this is a scary position. That those DTs give him so much map control that Dentarg's not going to be able to do anything for a long time. And if Telecom wants to take his third, if he wants to tech, if he wants to do anything at all, he's free to. Okay. Going to take a lot of damage. But manages to keep both of them alive.
Splits them up, and he'll have map control forever. The Robo is so far away, and actually, Dentarg going for a Templar Archives of his own, so maybe try to get some DTs to get back in,
yeah,
or
both players going for really late Robo. Which is interesting. Dentarg knows there's cannons, so the fact that he's going Templar right now is kind of interesting. He played Reaver really well game 1. I was kind of expecting to see that again game 2, or I guess this is game 3. But yeah, opting to go for a really, really late robo. And, you know, Telecom same. So once that DT is out, basically neither player can move out on the map with anything but DTs.
Yeah, that's gonna be weird. Now the third base is up for Telecom right now, and I think he has healthy enough probe saturation to make a pull for that. Probably from the main.
Yeah, and this is actually a really big difference in terms of the relative timings of these bases. I'm pretty sure Telecom got his third base much later than this in game number 1. So Dentarg is definitely farther behind when you compare those two games, and the fact that he doesn't have a Reaver and a shuttle means that, you know, his tactics to get back in aren't even available this time.
Still no robo, and there's a DT out from Dentarg, so this might bite him here. I mean, he's not really going to be able to attack with this, honestly, unless he goes for some friendly Storm or Archon.
Yeah, he's running right past, but the DT does notice he's going to be able to snipe a ton of Templar here, and all Telecom can do is run back. He's actually
if he blocks him.
Yeah, he's killing. He's hitting it on Zealots. He could have killed a couple of more Templar there, but at the very least, he pushes him back.
He's so Templar heavy.
That is a lot of Templar.
More of them, some of them, I guess.
Yeah, I think adding some Archons would make sense. Really, I'm kind of surprised to see this unit comp. You definitely see a lot more goons in traditional PvP. I don't think Telecom has made more than like 2 goons.
Well, right, yeah. Well, the first game. Oh no, I'm thinking of a different series.
Well, I mean this game. He definitely made a
yeah.
bunch of goons in game number 1. But this...
You guys got...
Oh, there goes the Archon morphs. We're going straight into 4 Archons. So it's going to be Zealot Archon, which does okay, but, you know, if Dentarg can build up a ton of goons and can take care of those Zealots with either Reaver or Storm, that's a winning fight for Dentarg.
Yeah, I mean, judging by the mana on these High Templars, there's going to be like 6 Storms maybe by the time this attack hits. So that's going to be really good. And yeah, I would say I'm a little bit okay now. Now we have a goon production happening. So I mean, he's 70 supply ahead. So this game should not last much longer.
Yeah, this supply lead is enormous. You know, he's actually expanding again behind this, so I'm assuming attack is coming soon, and all Dentarg's going to be able to do at the best case is survive. It's going to be really tough, but even if he does that, he's going to be 2 base to 4. So this is a very rough position. I think this one might be unwinnable. I was kind of saying game 1, I might have called it a little bit early. I'm not sure. This one I think is over. It's just Dentarg is so far behind at this point that I can't see what he can do. He's going to try to sneak a base down in the bottom right. And maybe if he survives the attack and that kicks in, he'll have a chance, but that all requires him to survive the attack, which, you know, if you look at the armies, it's a tall order.
Got a Storm drop coming in. Into the third, there's goons. Going to be goons there, though. Telecom sniffed this out.
Yeah, I think he had the spotter pylon. Yeah, spotter pylon at 9 o'clock. This might actually fly over these 2 goons. He's going to barely bypass them. So he might get the Storm off, which is a great move. But, again, the army size is just... it's crazy. Good pull. Early pull on the probes. So, gets 1 probe with the first Storm, and that's it.
All right, so here's the attack coming in.
Yeah, and those Templar are not here to storm the army. So this is actually a pretty big deal. There's not a lot. He has a lot of Templar in the background, actually. Never mind, he's got plenty of storm. But they're going to have to land really well, and he has to be careful these Templar themselves don't get stormed.
Yeah, although I would like to see him still pump out, get some more Dragoons.
It's not a lot of goons, but at this point I don't think it matters. So here we go. The storms are going to have to be perfect, and he has to make sure that his own Templar don't get caught.
I mean, this is a horrible angle to attack into, though. I mean, this is cancerous for him to try to micro him.
Yeah,
I mean, he just lost 30 supply.
That is really rough, but it was all Zealot. He still has the goons, and he still has the Archons. He's getting repelled for now, but reinforcements can come. He's still on a 4 base, or I guess it's a 3 base economy for now, but he's got the 4th base available. Yeah, I guess Storms hold it, but man, this is such a bad position. Dentarg's morphing into Archon, so he actually doesn't have many Storms left. It looks like 2 Templar with a bunch of energy. And 1 Archon paths into the army and sacrifices himself for ire.
Like, that attack didn't need to happen. I mean, really, all they had to do was camp and send an obs to all the bases and literally just sit there for however long as possible.
That would have worked a little bit better. He certainly let Dentarg even things up a little bit. I think just having goons rather than trying to force Zealots down that choke would have worked better. Goons you don't get as much value on a storm on goons because they're not as clumped up, and they'd be doing damage to the wall structures the whole time, whereas the Zealots really just kind of like hugged each other and got on each other's toes. We don't have a ton of saturation at the latest bases for both players, so it's really sort of a 3 base. This actually is like a half base. And actually Telecom's expanding again, so he needs to work on the probe transfer a little bit. His saturation could use a little bit of work, but Dentarg doesn't feel comfortable to even Maynard. He's probably just hoping this base stays hidden. So that bottom right is not going to give him econ for a long time.
Yeah. Telecom still doesn't know about that, so I mean, he's got to be scouting here, because at a certain point he's got to suspect that there's going to be a 3rd base.
Yeah, we actually have a ton of goons coming out now from Telecom, so if the same situation happens, I think it's going to go much better for him. There's also less Storm available. 4 of those Templar have been morphed into Archons, so Dentarg probably had like 8 to 10 Storms available. There's a couple more Templar coming up, but they're still low on energy. Yeah, I think Telecom can totally win a fight, especially with some army coming on the map. Dentarg is feeling like he can do something. He's going to catch these 4 Zealots.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, yeah, big Storm drop.
He actually only got, like, I mean, if the saturation was good, he actually would have done really well.
That's part of the mind games there.
Yeah.
Know where they're going to drop and Maynard away from that. Because, like, look at this base. The upper left has a ton, whereas that one is fairly low on probes.
Yeah, so Telecom is going for Arbiter right now.
It's a good way to break stalemate. If you feel like you just can't attack, you can always recall in. I think Telecom can attack, but it's a good tech to go to at this point.
Yeah, this is the thing about Fighting Spirit PvP. It's the map for comebacks, because all the bases are on the high ground. So, you get like 6 cannons and you basically sealed an expansion. So, basically, if Dentarg keeps control of the space in the corner here, he essentially will have, an extra 2 bases. If he gets this one, the, what's it called, 9 o'clock position, and then the 6 o'clock one.
Oh, and we have army that's going to get caught for Dentarg. So that's brutal to lose army right now. Oh, but it's going to barely get away with the storm. I'm sorry to cut you off there. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine. I just saying, Dentarg has quite a few more bases than, he has quite a few more bases in theory than you may think, just because of how good Fighting Spirit is for that.
Yeah, it is a defensive map, like you said. I think there is a risk also that if Telecom waits too long, then you're going to have a 200 versus 200 army. Like, it doesn't matter what the econ is if you take a bad fight. But he is pushing it now. He still has a supply advantage, but he's eating so many storms. The last storm from Telecom on top of Dentarg's High Templars, though, is really big. All Dentarg had in that army was way too many storms. So with the Templar going down, we actually have 4 units not in the fight. this is a pretty solid trade for Telecom this time.
Attacking into cannons.
Yeah, he's just trying to end it. He's got reinforcements on the way, but without Storm to block off this choke, I think he may be able to just barely break this. Zealots are here to help reinforce. It's going to be kind of close. He needs to keep the goons alive, but he's also done some probe damage in the middle of this fight, so even if he gets repelled, he's getting further ahead. If you look at the supply at this point, it's 60 supply lead.
Yeah, saturation for Telecom still pretty poor.
He's got most of his probes in the upper left. He's got a lot in the natural as well, but his 12 o'clock and his 3 o'clock are not very good.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think he honestly, Telecom may just want to wait for Arbiter Tech.
Yeah, the Arbiters are out, and that is going to cause a lot of headaches. I don't think that Dentarg has many obs. You know, he's been fairly poor until rather recently, so he hasn't been just producing as many obs as you would want in a standard game. But he'll have at least one, like he'll be able to see, but if that gets sniped, it's going to cause problems for him.
Yeah, and I mean, with the Arbiters, I think he wants to recall in a PvP.
Yeah, right.
So, but I mean, it takes like 40 eons to save up enough energy for recall, so it's going to be a while.
Oh, we got some forward Templar. They actually all get stormed, so they don't actually get their own storms off. That's a pretty big loss. You know, Telecom's still way ahead, but that storm was a fairly sizable chunk of his power in that army, and to just lose it to a handful of zealots is a big deal. I don't actually see an observer for Dentarg, so he's relying on the cannons at the moment for vision. And if those all go down, it could be problematic. There's so many Templar. Both these guys making a ton of Templar, and a stasis. The style stasis.
Yeah, that's actually not a... Well, yeah, honestly, whatever Telecom does is fine.
He's too far ahead now.
Oh, stasising the probes.
Yeah, he is too far ahead. That is too much. And you know, the storm is the entire army. Actually, just Templar coming out. Dentarg just trying to dump his gas, but unfortunately, Templar alone is not going to be enough here. What I want to see is the stasis to break, and then just like 6 perfect storms.
Yeah. The money storms. Or was it the magic boxing where you select all of them so they disperse?
Yeah, that I don't know if you can pull that off in the time it takes. Oh, they're available. Yeah, we just got the stacks, the storm stacks.
Spread a little, not quite as good, but
yeah,
it wasn't like it was all on one tile.
The natural is down, and he'll definitely be able to push his way up this ramp. There's only 3 zealots and an Archon, so I think that is the set. A couple more zealot reinforcements, but there's just too much here. Dentarg, I guess he's staying in it because he does have the bottom right, but it's not enough. I think if he saw the full map, he would realize that it's over.
Yeah, I mean, you played a good best of 3 with somebody, and you just there's some of that stage where you're kind of in denial about losing.
It's tough.
Not saying he is, but it's just it takes a little bit just to process it, and sometimes you don't want to end the game any earlier than you have to.
Yeah, and like he's still mining, he's still producing, like he can still play. So, you know, I don't fault him for not GGing at this point quite yet. But it is quite over as observer. You can tell. You can look at the bank and the supply. But he's a fighter, and as I said, like you gotta respect that. Like he's doing what he can. As long as he's still got something to do.
Yeah. Gets an Arbiter there. Telecom needs to get his armor upgrades for his Arbiters.
I'm not sure what that in the middle is supposed to be. Maybe like W's or a G. Oh, 2 G's. It's 2 G's. Yes.
Looks like a GG.
Yep. He didn't quite have enough room.
Looks like it's pretty. I mean, pretty manner, I guess. I mean, not like good manner, I guess. He is
medium manner.
Yeah. The fact that he's doing it, but at least he's not. At least he's not like. Well, you suck.
Yeah, but these guys were chatting earlier. Like they've definitely played games before. I don't think there's anything bad about that. And he's gonna find the bottom right. So this might be the impetus for Dentarg to GG here because he can't defend against this. So once he loses this, he's barely mining.
Yeah.
It's really just 5 cannons now.
I think Telecom does that because he knows that these will be casted. So
Yeah, some people do ham it up for the camera. This guy Firebat Hero, you may have heard of him.
yeah. This is a tough position to push up, but anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the pros weren't actually blocking, unfortunately. I mean, Telecom's taking losses, but he can take them. I don't think he's even macroing anymore. His money's just kind of floating up, and his supply hasn't gone up. But he's got Dentarg effectively contained at the only place there are gateways. There's one gateway here. So there's nothing really available, and I gotta say Dentarg's gonna GG soon. We got the fleet beacon. I guess we're gonna go carrier. Like what? Like, at this point, it's not even a game. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
You want to just times 2 the speed or something?
I might up the speed a little bit here. Oh, there's the recall. There's it is. That's what he's waiting for. But it's all gonna die.
What would be awesome if he recalls Dark Archons and then mind controls.
That would be pretty sick. A 1 DT gonna repel this bottom right army. I guess carriers are on the way.
I think somebody told Blizzard, like, you know what, we don't see enough late game PvP, and then no one will ever say that again. After the last ASL.
It doesn't happen too much, yeah, but
that was just too much.
Yeah, that was a lot. All right, so Telecom has macroed again. It looks like he's making a carrier fleet. There's an army out on the map trying to do something. He's gonna see the Manor pylons. Gonna retake the base. Man, Dentarg is a fighter, man. Like, this is... He is not giving up. He's gonna have to win some crazy fights in the next... I guess it would probably take him at least 10 minutes to equalize this. Like, if you gave the reins to, like, Bisu right now, maybe Bisu could win in another 20 minutes, but this is just such a rough position. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, like, well, you know, he's got like 3 mining bases right now.
He's gonna take out this base. That's something. But what are you gonna do about carriers? There's not nearly enough interceptors with those carriers, but I guess that's changing.
Stasis.
Another stasis. Yeah, this is getting a little much. Cannon battery. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Come on.
Obviously, both players not in a rush.
Yeah, no place to be this time. Yeah, so that's the end. I mean, there's nothing to do against these carriers. Like, Protoss doesn't even have like the crazy comeback spells. Like, you can't kill these carriers with Storm. You might try.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get like some sick plague. You're not gonna get some sick EMP.
The only thing would be double storm.
Yeah, if you put 3 storms on top of these carriers at the same time.
Wait, you can mail carriers, right?
You cannot mail carriers.
Oh,
mail
okay.
is only.
Good thing I've never been in that position.
Yeah, now you know. Oh, we have to scout from Dentarg. All right, so I see what's going on.
You stasis the carriers.
It's a 6 stasis. This carrier might die.
There's the 1 scout. There we go. Is that the first scout in the CPL?
No. Who else made a scout? There was a scout.
Oh.
I want to say Hot Dog made a scout.
You remember, like, in the SKTL, it was like Python, and we saw like Mass.
Oh, there's the 2v2, right?
Yeah, it was like, no, not Scout. It was like Mass, D-Web, Sares.
Yes.
It was like Dark Archons.
Yeah, it was the craziest 2v2 I've ever seen. I totally remember that game. I mean, scouts have a purpose, and it's not just to BM. Like, there's a very tiny niche where you can use a scout effectively, and I use that word in quotes. Yeah, you could stove. You could. I mean, like, you know, this situation. Clearly, Dentarg should go scouts. That's just textbook. All right, so now this is just over. This is too much. This is too much.
Looking at the replay progress. Okay, it looks like it's almost over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Dentarg's still mining, like, which is not gonna be the case anymore. So please don't go to elimination. Come on, guys. Another stasis. Yeah, they're just dicking around now. They're just having fun. This is. This is beyond.
Oh, the scout escapes. Okay, come on. We need to put in a rule that if you delay the game purposely, you get deducted a match score.
That's a tough rule to enforce. Because who's delaying the game?
Yeah.
All right, there's the GG.
Finally.
So 2-1 for Telecom. In except for the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes there, it was a good series.
Yeah. I think enough's been said about that.
Yeah.